Should be up.
Jimmy, Steph, or Draymond like really ever interacting?
Let me see here. Do you see it?
Sure it's fine.
Turn that down.
Let's see an upcoming. If it's upcoming, does it just automatically switch to the live?
Yeah, it should. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, I have it now.
Oh, no, I see it, yeah.
Yeah. I got it now.
From the Sunshine State, the great state of Florida, and what does your Uncle Charlotte always say? The craziest people in America come from the Bronx and all of Florida.
I'm Big Bubba crossing my black car. It's booby traps and pit bulls crossing my backyard. I'm still strapped, boy, these handguns on Vanguard. I like going against the grain cause my head hard. Bae, I used to thug hard to see this crack hard. I don't duck nothing but the motherfucking task force. Me and 2 Root running shit, we like the fat boys. Paid cash for it, so I try to and fast forward. I put it all in your face like you asked for. Most of you love frontin' like the dashboard. I get it chalked out like the blackboard. I got the ghetto off glass like the backboard. Most of my niggas ride till it ain't no gas for. We been outside like ain't no map for. Been outside like ain't no map for.
I swear to God, these motherfucking jets in Florida is different. Man, I was at this house the other night. Gave her the little side son one melatonin, thinking this little motherfucker gonna go to sleep. Hell nah, the little motherfucker ain't go to sleep. I ended up giving this little the whole goddamn bottle. He ate them all. It was up all motherfucking night.
I'm in all white ones. Picture could get me a Cy Young. We feel like nuns. No f***s giving like Spice One. We feel like bums. Don't change, then I might run. Feel like buns. Shit when the price jump. I got white bumps. These bags kill it price plump. You only die once. I know you a snake with a sliced tongue. I can't trust you, I'ma dust you. Ain't no checking temperature. It's f*** you, then it's f*** you. These laws I'm stuck to. You know how many 12-12s I run through? My get cut, but my girlfriends get cut loose. My get hit like kung fu. I love the streets, but they never told me I love you.
You already know, I'm straight from Florida, G. You know, bottom of the motherfucking map. Home of motherfucking Uncle Luke. Home of Trick Daddy. Home of Kodak Black. Nothing but gold teeth, wigs, and motherfucking sticks. You already know, bottom of the map. FLA, shaped like a motherfucking Hezbollah. Have it, won't it?
Welcome back. You're back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Uh-oh.
Jumped the gun there with a trade.
I'm touching stuff. I'm touching stuff.
Just don't touch me and we're good.
We got a full show for you guys today. All right, as always, big trade news just hitting the notifications. So we got to talk about that. All right. Where is this stuff?
He's really fired up about that Kyle Kuzma move.
No. Kyle Kuzma was a big move. We'll talk about that. But we're going to be talking about Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors. That just hit the thing there. Why KD didn't want to go to the Warriors. We'll talk about that. Of course, the Luka trade that happened a few days ago, along with other NBA free agency. Okay, NFL Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about that. Mahomes versus Brady. We'll get into some of that. TK Kirkland, he's making, wild statements. And then Michael Jordan's son is out in the wilderness.
Also making wild statements.
Also making
cocaine-fueled wild statements.
He's a cocaine cowboy.
Remember drug-addled Doug Martin? Back
No.
at Rollins?
No, Doug Martin?
Doug Martin was the running back for the Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
He got a drug suspension, and I referred to him as being drug-addled, and you're like, hey, hold up, it might not be that bad. I don't know if he's drug-addled.
No, that's for sure. Let's jump right into it, man. No need to belabor the point. So, of course, Jimmy just traded, all right, over to Golden State for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, a protected first to Miami. Detroit Pistons were involved in this deal as well.
We're not quite sure how.
Josh Richardson and some other person.
Okay.
So whatever you think of that. This is a huge trade, man. The Miami finally are able to get off Jimmy. Okay, Golden State has been clamoring for another star. They're paired with Steph and Draymond. The Andrew Wiggins ran its course. That experiment. I mean, they did get a championship out of it when he was
that one great finals performance.
Yeah, and he was really good, man.
When he embraced rebounding.
Yeah,
that was like he's never been before and never since a rebounder at that level. But in that playoff run and specifically those finals, he figured out what he needed to do.
No, facts. Where's my water? No, and then like you said, he's never looked the same since. Okay, and he has such a large contract, so I'm sure they've called around to other teams as well, even before this year, trying to get off of that contract since he was performing up to the task there. And then you get this disgruntled Jimmy, and the Miami Heat were said to have called basically every team in the league. They were trying to get him to Phoenix, which was his desired destination, but Bradley Beal refused to, and I wanted to get your take on that too, because from what my understanding, there's only two players with a no-trade clause, LeBron and Bradley Beal, in the whole NBA.
Sounds about right.
If you're Bradley Beal and Phoenix is trying to land Jimmy, okay, and then also they have been trying to get off you for about a year or two now anyhow, how does that, how should he feel that should he feel like, hey, I'm not wanted, so yeah, trade me because I'm not wanted? Instead, he's like, no, I want to be here, so you're not moving me. I don't care who you're trying to get over here. I'm staying over here with KD.
Yeah.
And then they're not able to get Jimmy because of that.
He's not a guy that's motivated by winning. He's a bag man, and he doesn't like to move. I mean, he stayed with the Wizards forever, and now he's going to apparently finish his career in Phoenix. I mean, he's just an unusual guy. He's not motivated by the same stuff that we are. I don't know, man. Maybe.
I don't know if that makes him unusual.
It's
not unusual to make that anytime.
I mean, he must like Phoenix a lot. I don't know. Like it's I mean, from a basketball standpoint, if you're being shopped, the team's not doing particularly well with you in it, like, why not shuffle it up?
You've already been moved to the bench.
Yeah. Why not just, shuffle it up a little bit more and go? But, maybe he just reached a point. It's like, okay, basketball is what it is. My check still hits the account, and I like Phoenix. Yeah. I'm comfortable. I'm cool. Like, that wouldn't surprise me at all for a guy like that.
If it wasn't for that no trade clause, he probably would have been moved 4 times already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, shout out to his agent.
I mean, if you look at it, too, I mean, and this is, guys, people talk about this, it's like, when these guys get moved in particularly the middle of the season, like, you don't have time to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you get into some temporary housing, you've got your stuff, like, you got to try and get it shipped to wherever you're at, and again, when you're traded, you go right to the schedule of the team that you got traded in. I mean, they could be on a West Coast road string right now, or up in the Northeast, and so you're not even going to Miami. You're going to join the team in New York and Philly the next night, and then maybe a few days later you'll get to Miami and figure out where you're going to stay and where you need to ship your stuff. I mean, there's just a lot of logistical things, and honestly, that might be part of it. Like, we may get to the off season, and he may be like totally cool moving somewhere,
right?
Because he gets to do it on his terms. Yeah, I'll move in June or May or whatever, or April, or not April, but July. I'll pick a place I want to live, the team, figure things out. But he might just want to, dude, I'm not going to go through that right now. The Heat aren't going anywhere. We ain't going anywhere, so I ain't going anywhere.
Facts.
Now,
back to the Jimmy piece of this. All right. Apparently now they're saying it's a 5-team deal. 5 teams are involved in this deal. So I'm trying to look for the exact details, but they're saying 5 teams are involved. While I'm looking for that, though, let's talk about Jimmy's fit with the Warriors. I mean, of course, you have been you like Steph Curry. You've been a fan of that run that they've had.
For sure.
How do you feel Jimmy Butler is going to fit in with Steph Curry, Draymond, and the Warriors?
I think it'll be a little bit awkward. Jimmy for me is an offensive soloist, and I think that he just kind of like he'll mix in his post ups, he'll mix in his drives, ball in his hands type of guy. He's he's not a super skilled passer, but he's not like a fluid movement guy. And that's what the hallmark of the Warriors was, having a lot of intentional movement on offense early in possessions, and then once the shot goes up and there's a secondary ball, they would be like lethal in finding the three-point shooter off of the offensive rebound or off of the scramble situation. That's not really what Jimmy does. You have to be extremely selfless to do that, and you have to do a lot of running. And I don't think that those are things that Jimmy Butler's really been, noticed for in his career, and particularly the late career here when you're a little bit older and you're not just as free to run around like a maniac. So they're going to have to find some common ground where they'll, integrate some Jimmy ISO, some Jimmy post-up stuff to keep him engaged and active in the offense. And he'll have to kind of meet them halfway and be willing to get involved in some other actions that, favor Steph more. But again, he's a talented guy. He can pass. He can play make. You can figure something out with that. As far as that goes. And it's just about, like, again, offensive basketball is just finding ways to get your best guys in the spots they want to be and manipulating the defense. And so you can use, him in the mid post or post to, draw help, draw doubles, and create situations where, you can get actions with Steph shooting or free him up to shoot. Jimmy can take some of that ball handling burden where Steph doesn't have to do some of that.
Yeah.
So there's ways to work, but everyone's going to kind of have to give a little to what their preferred thing is to make it work.
And if you watch, I've watched more of the Warriors this year than I probably would have liked to. And what they were doing a lot was, of course, Draymond and Steph play predominantly a lot of the minutes together. And then they would run Wiggins and Dennis Schroeder, kind of the second unit, whenever stagger the time, and also whenever Steph or Draymond is out, et cetera, et cetera. But with Jimmy, and that wasn't working, right? That was not working. Wiggins, it just at this point and since the finals, has not been able to run or initiate offense at an efficient pace. Even for the whatever 10 to 15 minutes that that we're allowing. Jimmy will be able to do that if you give him that. You know what I mean? And I know Kerr is going to be able to do a lot with that. Now the full 5-team trade is, of course, the Warriors get Jimmy alone, no picks or any additional players. The Heat, they get Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker, and a protected first. That's all they get.
That's it. They don't get Schroeder.
They don't get Schroeder.
Woo! That's not as good.
That's not as good.
Not at all.
That is not as good.
I mean, at this point, you're trading the ghost.
Oh man, PJ hasn't played in like 2 to 3 years. He wanted to like quit. He got the players in union involved. Like the Clippers would not play him, because they were trying to be a playoff team, and he kind of just sucked.
Yeah.
All right, now. And to he's saying he still wants to play and he has a lot to offer to the team. Now, the Pistons, they get
besides shoes.
The Pistons got Lindy Waters. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Josh Richardson. Okay. The Jazz get Dennis Schroeder, just only Dennis Schroeder.
Okay.
That sucks for Dennis. And then the Raptors somehow get Kyle Anderson alone.
The Raptors get Kyle Anderson. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Guys are just flung around the league.
And that sucks for Kyle.
Yeah, so, really, Dennis Schroeder's, for me, a useful NBA player.
Yeah.
Borderline starter, backup point guard. So, the Jazz are getting something, and they didn't really give up anything that I can tell. I don't think any of these other teams are getting much of anything. For the Heat getting, which I originally thought they were getting Schroeder and Wiggins, I thought, well, that's not terrible. That's two guys that should start. To replace Jimmy, and you combine with Bam and Hero, and you somewhat competent team, you would think. So without Schroeder being a part of that deal, I don't really love this for Miami either. So I think really the Warriors are the only team that kind of came out okay as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and the Jazz with getting Dennis.
Yeah.
Now, that protected first. You gotta get them to take that protected out. If you're the Heat and you're not getting the shoulder out of this, like you gotta, you take this protected foolishness off. Picks are they're whatever you make of picks. Because they're unknown. It's really an unknown to it. Some people, are picks people and some are not. It really just depends.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the West and we're going to get to some of these other, changes and trades that have happened, but just looking from a Golden State perspective now. Right now they're in the 10th seed, okay? And we know with the play-in, you got to get at least to 10. All right, so right now they're in 10th. Phoenix, Sacramento, Minnesota are ahead of them. Like that's 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Throw in the Clippers who are at 6, because of course if you get the 6, you don't have to play the play-in.
Yeah.
All right.
Big benefit to get to 6.
And they're
how many games?
3 games back. So that's
from
not
6.
terrible.
You're in 10th. There's 3 games off of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's open.
It's open, and I foresee Sacramento coming out now. They very well can hoop. You had DeRozan and Levine. They would have had 2 8th seed playoff appearances with the Bulls. I think at least 1. I know, maybe 2. So they're going to rekindle they're trying to rekindle their 8th seed playoff
8th seed vibes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have every right, but I foresee them falling out. Especially in favor of Golden State, if you will.
Yeah.
Phoenix, I don't know what to make of them. They're just they're basically tied for 9th, Phoenix and Golden State. So
Phoenix just has never they really haven't figured anything out this year. Like you don't feel that they've that they've ever sort of connected and gone on a run or seem like they're poised to go on a run. So it's hard to think much of them. But the team you're forgetting in this, to me, is San Antonio.
Oh no,
Fox.
and they're
a little bit behind these teams.
Yeah, but you have to include them.
But if Fox, really clicks and kind of really complements Wemby, you still got Coach Chris Paul out there. Maybe they're a team that gets at least into the play-in.
But that's kind of my point. Like, it's a lot of teams making moves, and they're anticipating making a run, and it's just like the musical chair. Somebody's going to be left out
for sure.
And I don't know.
And
I don't know if this Jimmy
these
Butler
are these also feel like they're mini runs.
Yeah.
Like none of the teams we've discussed from 6 to 11 or 12, feels like they're going to go on a 20 and 8.
That's my point of bringing it up. Like, I don't think this Jimmy move puts them in that situation. Now, will they be a little? I think they'll be a little better.
Yeah, they should be a bit better.
But the question for all of these teams that are making these moves is how much better.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need to get on a little heater here. To solidify one of these spots, and like you said, even fight off the teams behind you, because even behind Golden State, not only do you have San Antonio is at 12, at 11 you have Dallas.
Yeah,
and they're making moves.
They made moves. Yeah.
Not only the Anthony Davis, Luka, which is a little older, but we'll still get to it. They just traded earlier today for Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Which he's been a really good player for Philly and is on a team-friendly deal. I thought that was a good deal for them. Yeah. So I don't know what this does for Golden State.
And then the other name we haven't touched is the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure.
They lost some size when they made that trade. If Luka's nagged by injuries the rest of the season and LeBron needs a mental break, they could get back where they're more of a 6, 7, 8, 9 than slightly ahead of that where they are now.
And then the 2 young teams that are way up in the standings, I wonder, from an organizational point of view, is Memphis or Houston worried about Golden State? Memphis is at 2, Houston is at 3. And to be honest, if you're a normal basketball fan, just on paper, I'm taking, Golden State over Houston and Memphis, but that's not how this works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not how this works. And also, Golden State has to make it into the dance. And then, we've seen some young teams who have not yet solidified themselves to lose in the first round, even if they have a high seed. We've seen that, Sacramento as of recent and things like that. What is your take on that?
Yeah, no, I don't think if you're in the top couple teams, you're worried about all these moves in the back but the thing is pretty much most of the teams from like 5 to 12 have made some sort of move that they think is going to do something.
Yeah.
And so, you just keep looking forward and, things might feel different when you're in the playoffs and maybe maybe you are the 3 seed and you're drawing a really difficult 6 seed who's really got their shit together.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you who that's going to be right now.
Yeah.
It might kind of work in Dallas and maybe they move up to 6 and they're playing really good. And now you're like, shit, we got a tough first-round game. But you can't worry about it because you got to worry about yourself.
No, for sure, for sure.
That's the thing.
And while this is on my mind, once again, the NBA does this where we were just a month ago we were talking about how can the NBA improve and the ratings are down and there's no intrigue and all these things that they can do. And then what the NBA is kind of good for and known for is roster change, headlines, and things like that. And here they steal it, take it here during Super Bowl week. But even NFL aside, just gaining interest midway through the season, now the NBA is exciting again.
Yeah.
People want to see, it feels like it. But regardless, especially here in the short term, people are going to want to see Luka with the Lakers. Versus how much more intrigue is Luka with the Lakers than if he would have just stayed with Dallas?
The way things were going, it was very quiet. I mean, he missed a bunch of games, but it's not like they started the season with him healthy and got out of the gates 13-2.
Right.
So they were mildly disappointing before Luka went out in terms of you're in the finals last year, you don't come back tearing it up, you kind of come back and it's kind of mediocre, and then he's been out for so long that they've just kind of been treading water and in the back half of the playoff picture. So absolutely there was no intrigue there.
Yeah.
This rejuvenates it.
And then Golden State, more of the same. And with all of these teams. I mean, it's just with all of these teams making moves, we are going to want to see. I want to see Jimmy with Golden State.
It raises so many questions. So many really good players have moved in the last couple of days, and you're going to see, well, how does all this shake out?
Now, before we're going to get to those other moves really quick here, I wanted to just tell you, I wanted to close the deal on this Jimmy stuff. I want to tell you a little bit more details on it. So, the first of all, the Raptors are no longer in the deal. That just came in. The Heat are working through a resolution with Kyle Anderson after Toronto fell out. I guess they didn't want Kyle Anderson anymore. I didn't tell you I wanted Kyle Anderson. I told you I wanted Duncan Robinson. What are you talking about?
Well, the thing about it is you've got, guys got guaranteed money and whatever. They may not have the roster spot.
Anyway, right.
Without giving away something that they don't want to give away.
Now, two things here. The Warriors, upon trading for Jimmy, they went ahead and automatically extended him 2 years for 121 M's. Okay, we were just talking about pre-show. You were saying, hey,
I don't know that you extend him.
Yeah. Should they extend him? And this is how does that? And I was saying how I thought that they were going to let the season play out because Jimmy had a player option. Let the season play out, see how he fits in, and then you can decide whether you want to extend him or make Jimmy make the decision whether he wants to opt in or not. And then even if he doesn't, you still get you get to clear the books and go out after someone in free agency. You ought to, before you see him, you extend him, and he gets his money. So now he should be happy because he got his extension that Miami wouldn't give him. He got the full max extension. Now you come here to ball. I don't think they should have done that. But hey,
Well, I mean, it looks like the way to read that move is they're going to give him a 2-year deal. Steph's going to be 37 this month.
Yeah,
he's probably about 2 more years. Like they probably just looked at it. It's like, hey, we had no other move we tried work because they apparently tried to call every half superstar in the league about it. Nothing else worked. This did. Let's give it 2 years, ride it out, and everything can burn to hell.
Yeah, because when you look at it that way, it's like what we're doing now wasn't going to work the next 2 years. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
So if this is the move that worked, let's go ahead and fully commit to it. And if Jimmy burns us, hell, he burned everybody else too. So we'll just be a part of the chlamydia list.
Yeah, but I mean, he's usually like, he's historically he's given you a little something. At the beginning,
when he first get there, when he's first happy,
yeah.
you're gonna get a year or two out of him, and that's all this is.
Yeah,
That's
basically what they did.
So that's basically what they did. Okay, yeah, I like that. And then lastly, here we talked about the pick, but the Heat are getting, like I said, the Warriors 2025 first, but it's top 10 protected. Again, that's just not valuable. It's not valuable because you're looking at the Warriors should be a playoff team, and even if they fucking tumble.
Well, it's top 10 protected, so if you assume the Warriors are a playoff team, it's not going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
And therefore, you'll get it.
You'll get it, but I mean, yeah.
So you're getting.
You'll be outside the lottery.
But I mean, again, you're not. You're trading aging Jimmy Butler. You're not going to get.
Well, my point is, you only got Wiggins out of it in this pick.
But
so
again,
you will want
if
the pick to be something valuable.
If you get a pick, below 20, which is probable, that ain't terrible. That's not nothing. If you feel confident, you can draft good players.
And the Heat have.
They do.
The Heat have.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We'll get to these other NBA trades. Let's talk to the most recent one.
But I do want to address one thing.
Go ahead.
The teams in the West that are currently at the top of this thing, they didn't make any big moves.
No.
And they're all kind of developed, kind of heavily through their own drafting prowess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's significant to note here. And they went young. I mean, the OKC was the beneficiary of a star-grabbing trade for Paul George. It got them Shea, who's an MVP candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting that the teams that are actually at the top of the West haven't been star chasing. They've been developing, and they're sitting in the prime spot. And all these teams behind them are shuffling aging assets to catch them.
Yeah. No, that's true. But until one of the young guns actually wins a championship, then it's like the aging stars. That's still the way to go because that's who's winning. Guys who are firmly in their prime, or the older guys. You know what I mean? So that's something to take note of too. Yeah. Now OKC is a team that at least have been in the playoffs a couple of years. And they've lost. They've had their heartbreak. Even though they're still pre-prime, they've at least been there. It would shock me if Houston or Memphis, makes it to the championship. That's a shocker.
I mean,
Houston would
Houston would be more shocking because they've come the farthest from nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, Memphis, before Ja went off the rails, was that team. They were battling the Warriors in the playoffs. They were looking, they were talking brash. They were looking like the next big thing in the West.
Yeah.
And then when Ja did what he did, it kind of fell apart for him. But they're kind of running it back with a lot of the same guys from that thing. You talk about Ja, Jackson, Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those core guys are still in place.
Shout out to my guy Edie that you don't like.
I don't like him. Yeah, don't like him at all.
But
notice I didn't highlight him as part of the package.
Drafted him. He's homegrown.
Yeah.
But no. I fully understand that. But I would still be shocked if Memphis did pull something off like that, even though you are correct in that. But yeah. Now again, Kuzma, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Washington Wizards make a trade.
This is the deal that needs to be dissected.
Now, I'm wondering what do you feel about this? Because Chris Middleton goes to Washington and Kuzma goes to Milwaukee, and of course you have some spare parts to go along with that. But you have Kuzma, who has been who people may forget, but he does have a championship.
He does.
But then he goes to Washington for several years into the abyss and is the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And not only that, this year he has really struggled, but maybe it's because he's on a bad team. He just doesn't give a damn. But he's shooting like 20-something% from three, 14, 15 a game. He's not rebounding like he used to. So I don't know.
Yeah, I the way I look at this is Milwaukee gets younger and more available because Middleton's been just hurt the last couple years too much. They don't have a big three. They have two guys and an injured guy. And right now, I'm not saying that Kuzma steps in and becomes part of a big three, but he's a younger guy, and he's been, over the last couple years, a healthier person. So, you get a chance to have a value by availability. Now, I do think he should also become more efficient with the Bucks because they have other guys that do the heavy lifting, and he should get higher shot quality by playing with those guys. If he goes to this team, though, and continues to shoot like crap, now we've got to look at him in the lens of like a Ben Simmons or something, where you're just mentally broken, and you may not ever be a functional player.
Right,
again.
but for a different reason.
Yeah.
But how is it that easy to switch it on? Like, I'm sure he's been switched off for 2 years. Like, whatever, I'm just going to go out there and go with the motions. And then all of a sudden you're on a title contending team in a blink of an eye. Like, how?
Yeah. I mean,
I wonder how difficult of a transition that would be.
Don't underestimate it, for sure. I think, you're going to come to that situation. Like, emotionally, it's going to be a lift. He's like, hey, I'm on a good team now. Let me go do my thing. And I think you could easily see maybe the first couple games go kind of nice because he's just excited. He's going to go play hard. And, you're like that new kid in the class. You want to learn everything, and you're fully engaged. But there will be, even after the first couple games, there will be a genuine adaptation period where it won't come as easy. He's going to have to deal with maybe some of the bad habits he's developed. He's going to have to deal with the constraints of whatever role the Bucks have for him, and then adapting to that.
Yeah.
We may not see it immediately. It might be 10 days, 2 weeks down the road, but there'll be a stretch of games. And his value to the Bucks is going to be defined by how he handles that adaptation period. And if he comes through that, picks up hitting shots, starts to be a guy that maybe rebounds and does a few other things, that helps teams win, kind of like he did for the Lakers back in the day, this would be a great trade for them.
Yeah. I think it's a good move for the Bucks. I think it sucks for Chris Middleton to go to Washington, and then also Washington front office came out today, just a couple of hours ago, and said that their plan is to keep Middleton because a lot of people were thinking that they were going to buy him out, and then he'll be a buyout candidate for a title contending team.
Yeah.
But they're saying their plan is to keep him and get him with their bunch and whatever. That's awful. I mean, that's tough because when you're talking about trading a guy who helped you win a championship, okay, who was really good at that time, I understand that he's often injured now, but damn. Like, do you have to send him to Washington, of all places? The absolute worst team in the league. He has to feel some type of way. He has to.
Oh, yeah.
And then that team, owns the rights to you. Like, you can't force your way out, unless you're going to pull a Jimmy. But when has Chris Middleton ever, been known to do anything like that?
Jimmy, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it definitely sucks. But, I mean, it's kind of what we could talk about with the Luka trade when we get there. It's like the teams are not necessarily as powerless as maybe we grew to feel. And, if you're not performing, they're going to move on, and they're not going to be too worried about what happens to you. And unfortunately, Middleton's been in this situation where he's a very good player for the team for a long time, and now he's not a reliable option. So, well, out you go. But I mean, think about it. Let's not be hypocritical. Like, we run some men's league teams. If a guy's not helping us, we don't have much compunction about watching him go out the door.
No, but we're conscious about where you send him to.
No, we're not.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to just send him to the abyss. Like, not a guy who has at least been a good guy and has helped out and helped winning like Chris Middleton did. Yeah. But hey, maybe his agency can convince them to buy him out. But that'll be the best case scenario because you still get your money.
Yeah.
and then you get to go to a
team that-
yeah,
it's in the
like the
mix.
Lakers could use them. A lot of teams could
Yeah,
use
for sure.
Chris. And then especially if you're a buyout candidate, you get your money, then you can buy. Then you can be signed for like a vet minimum.
Yeah, you can be
And-
signed
and-
on the cheap.
And who wouldn't like take a flyer on him if
Yeah.
you're a contending team that can use somebody of that? Like,
Yeah.
And then if he gets hurt, it's like, so what?
So
No, seriously. But yes, to the other side of this, let's go ahead and talk. Let's talk Luka first. All right. So, of course, Luka gets traded over to the Lakers. AD goes to Dallas. Okay. So shock aside, because everybody's shocked. Everybody's, nobody saw this coming. Things like that. What is your that aside? What is your main takeaway, and where do you think this puts the two teams? After the post trade.
The more I think about this, the more I absolutely love it. I just talked about player empowerment. The ostensible reasons that Dallas made this trade is that having been around Luka for 6 or 7 years, they had reached a conclusion that he lacks the discipline to take care of his body, that he won't age particularly well as a player because of that fact, and that his mentality, and more so the mentality of the whining with the officials and being a kind of a belligerent guy, not defending, basically put them in a situation where I don't think we can win with this guy. And we're going to have to pay him $350 million to basically play out this part of his career, which could essentially just trap us in playoff fake contender mentality. That's the decision that they reached. We don't know if it's right or wrong yet, and we won't for a little while. But, you do look at this.
I know.
You do look at this, and I didn't realize he's only averaged 67 games a year throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty low for a guy that's at the beginning of his career. I would expect that number to have been in the 70s, but it's not. And it's probably not going to get better with time. And so I understand why they made the decision. I do think the defense wins championship things is I feel that's actually more of a shot at Luka. And here's the thing. This move was made with maximum disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
They did not tell him. He didn't ask for a trade. He wasn't lobbying for one. This was just their team making a decision. We don't think you're the fucking guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get rid of you, and we're not going to tell you, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to shop you around. And in that level, I mean, that's team power. Whether it's right or wrong, they've exercised.
100%.
And so I don't think they're going to be terrible with
No.
AD. And again, they make another move, and so I expect them to make the playoffs. I expect them not to be a super comfortable opponent for most people in the playoffs, particularly if Kyrie and AD are healthy. That's the Dallas side.
Can I interject here? Or you want to
Go ahead.
finish?
You could, go ahead.
Just on the Dallas side.
Yeah, yes.
So my point on that is you're 100% right on what happened. But the reason why I know it won't work out for them and it is the wrong move is because everything they did is in the wrong vein thinking wise. Because like you said, if you say, first of all, if you say that Luka's only averaged 6-7 games a year, whatever, this and that, then who do you think you're trading for? You think you're trading for a guy who plays all 82 every year? Is that what you're thinking? Newsflash: Luka plays more games than AD, and he's younger. So take that for what you will. Okay. Then number two. Okay, you're talking about a guy. You said he's out of shape, and you got the Finley taking beers out of his hand. You got this and that, right? But this is a guy like literally was just in the finals last year. You talk about a guy who, in order to get to the NBA Finals, they had to go through the Minnesota Timberwolves. A lot of people may not remember, but when they asked Anthony Edwards, who everybody loves, who is a superstar in this league, who was looked at to be a face of the league, when they asked him what happened and why did they lose and what was wrong with his performance in the Western Conference Finals, do you remember what Anthony Edwards said?
I do not.
I need better conditioning. I'm out of shape. I was tired. That's exactly what Anthony Edwards said.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that beat him that wasn't tired? It's Luka Doncic. This is just 5-6 months ago. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So that's confusing to me. A guy who has made All NBA first team all 5 years, like the last 5 years, All NBA first team. I mean, he's the best player at his position. That's at point guard is where they list him at. That's over the Currys, anybody you could fucking name in the Western Conference and in the league, in the whole entire NBA. He's number one. So a lot of this, I don't understand. Now, I just think he didn't like Luka. And that's fine. I mean, I just don't think he likes him as a person. I think. That's what I think, and that's what I believe.
Well, I know, and I don't disagree with that at all. I do think that Luka is so good, and his personality is such that and again, when I'm talking about personality, I'm talking also about like on-court demeanor, the bitching, the whining, that sort of stuff. And again, I mean, they're going on record and saying like, they've tried to approach him about the fitness and this and the other thing, he doesn't give a damn. You're right. But in the history of sport, there's a lot of great performers and athletes who didn't give a damn about that, and it ended up biting them in the ass. And so I get that they don't like him, and that's why I think, this was literally done personal. And there's the oddball story that Harrison's wife is obsessed with Luka.
Yeah.
So there's definitely personality things going on. I agree with you 100%. And then there's basketball things going on. And that is what it is. I don't think personally Dallas made the right move or a good move. But I see what they did. But what intrigues me the most about this is the Lakers side.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, and one superficial thing is, I said this before the show, the first time in his life that LeBron James is probably not the best player on his team. That alone is going to be fascinating to watch and absorb.
Yeah.
And that's going to be interesting. Then you have the thing of like, say whatever you want about LeBron. He's impeccably taken care of himself. Luka's now working hand in hand with him. Does that have an impact on Luka? Does that get him in a different frame of mind? But what hands down intrigues me the most is that we will find out who Luka Doncic really is. Because you have insulted and denigrated an unquestionably marvelous basketball player. And he has the ability now to show you who the fuck he is. There's a scene in a movie with Christopher Walken, and he's talking about the lion in the jungle. And he's kind of, Christopher Walken's special style of stuff. He's like, the jackals, they tease the lion. The lioness teases the lion. And he doesn't react. And then one day he gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. Because sometimes the lion needs to remind everybody he's the lion. This is where Luka is right now. It's here for him to do. He can, and again, it's a flawed roster right now. I get all that. But right now, he has motivation and purpose to show you if he's literally the best player in the earth.
I don't buy that.
You don't buy it?
Only because
there's nothing to buy.
If it's Joel Embiid, if it's Zion Williamson, then yeah, I'm all for that.
Well, what are you not buying, though?
Luka has been a lion. He is a lion. He's already a lion. He's already been the best player. He's already as accomplished more than any other young star in the Western Conference.
Yeah, but that's not what you have directly been insulted.
But what else can he do?
All great. Get a fucking title. Like play the next 5 years like a man with his head cut off.
He has been though. He has been playing. I mean, what else what do you want to do? Average 50 a game? He's been the number one scorer, all NBA, took his team to the finals. He's been kicking ass. He's talk shit. He's letting you know he whooping your ass. There's nothing anybody can do with him. Okay? What else can you do?
If he has another level, this is the time to show it.
He doesn't have another level. There is no other level.
Then I'm fine with Dallas making a move.
Yeah. There is no other level. I don't think nobody's on this level.
Then Dallas made the right decision.
There's nobody in the NBA on this level as is. So what other levels can he reach? If he reaches another fucking level, we're talking shit. I mean, what do you want?
That's the only
34, 35 a game. I mean,
That's the only thing that interests me in this deal. Because if we're just gonna see the same old Luka whining and bitching and whatever,
if you're thinking that's gonna change, that's.
Then I have no interest in it.
Oh yeah.
Then I have no interest.
1,000%.
The only
that
thing
part of him will not change.
All right, that's the only thing that interests is he going to go to another level in kind of like a revenge FU tour, or not? And if he doesn't have it in him to do, I'm not interested in him.
I think we're going to see the same fucking Luka that
if
kills everybody.
And if we
that
do
talks
see
to
that,
the referees. He's going to keep crying to the referees.
Then Dallas won the trade.
But he's going to dominate. He's a dominating type of player. That's what he does. When he lines up against the Timberwolves, the Dallas, the fucking OKC Thunder, all of these teams that he's fucking dominated for 5 or 6 years, he's going to continue to dominate them. That's what he does. They have never been able to stop him. There's no level above 40, 10, and 15 that you know what I mean? Like, shit.
Just winning a championship.
I mean, he was there.
He didn't win it.
Yeah, because his team was not as good. His team was not as good. I mean, you got Kyrie as his co-star going out there and fucking shooting 30% from the field and having turnovers and can't guard anybody. Okay, what can you do? When Scotty had a back attack, shit, they lost in that round. Like, what do you want Jordan to do? Average 120? You know what I mean? Like, if your team is not up to par, you're not going to win. And right now, the Lakers team is not up to the par, so they're not going to win a championship. But I do anticipate the Lakers competing, and Luka still dominating, and LeBron still looking good. Now the LeBron and Luka dynamic will be very interesting. I do think they can play together because they have high IQ, but a lot of people in the media do not believe that Luka and LeBron can play together. Now, that's the one thing I do want to see because I'm not 100% sure on that. But watching LeBron, my thing about watching LeBron the past 2 to 3 years, that a lot of people, if you haven't watched a lot of Lakers games, and I'm not mad if you haven't, he's already been a secondary ball handler, and a lot of times third. Austin Reeves handles the ball for them more than anybody on that team. And then, there were a lot of times where they would run the offense through Anthony Davis. So, LeBron hasn't been the ball dominant LeBron in since the Bubble championship. He just really hasn't. But Luka is a different ball handling animal. So that's why I'm still not 100% sure, because that's saying you probably you're not going to touch it much at all, as far as initiating offense. Because then what do you do with Austin Reeves? I mean, because then you're talking about LeBron and Luka splitting the ball, and then whereas Austin, he's been doing well in his time with the ball, Yeah. So I want to see that dynamic because that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Now on the other side here, you got the do you have any takeaway from Zach LaVine going to
no
Sacramento? That's a non-impact type of move.
Yeah, zero impact.
Yeah. I don't even know who the Bulls got out of that. I forgot. But like you said, I agree with that non-impact move. And then we talked about before the move happened, with the San Antonio Spurs getting Fox, Yeah, that's what happened. That's the trade. I'm talking about it. No. He was a part of the trade. So Fox goes to San Antonio.
Right.
What kind of impact do you think that'll make? They did make the move. We were talking about should they make it or should they wait for another star? Then we kind of went through the names
I'm okay with the move. I think it definitely lifts them up quite a bit. And I think they can make a bit of a run to get into at least the play-in situation. I'll be surprised if they don't get at least into the play-in with this move. But I like Fox a lot. He's a dynamic player. He's a clutch player. He's kind of in that nice prime part of his career to come along with Wemby. They have a couple other young pieces. They got Chris Paul. I think that that this is a good move. They should be able to attract other players, particularly before they have to extend Wemby. Mm. And and it should become a desirable place to play. But I think you're building a good, solid team with solid people. And I look at that as you're kind of going with like the Celtics model, with the OKC model, where you're just kind of, and I know it's a trade to get Fox, but he's an easy add guy.
Yeah.
He's not the same player, but like with Drew Holiday, like he could just go anywhere and add to a team's value. And they're not the same player, but I expect a good transition from Fox to this San Antonio team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you know, he's a hell of a player. And like we said, he targeted the Spurs. That was his wish list, of course, because Wemby is over there. And Fox is a type of guard that can really benefit from having Wemby behind him. So he's already a guy that competes on the perimeter defensively. But when you have like a Wemby behind you instead of Sabonis, like that fucking matters.
And I love the notion of like a prime guy fighting to go play with a young guy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically assuring that like I'm going to be playing the remainder of my prime with one of the league's best players.
Yeah.
Who should get better over the next couple of years.
And that's what you wanted a couple of other guys
for
to
Anthony,
do.
Anthony Edwards. Yeah, rather than playing with fucking Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert. But think about that.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be tactical. Even Jimmy Butler going to the aging Warriors. Like, I mean, really, what is that?
Yeah.
You know, what are you accomplishing?
Well, he wanted to go to Phoenix, but still, that's the same thing.
Same
as like
a bunch of old
Phoenix.
fucking dudes.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Like, you're going to these unbalanced rosters with guys who are already making, you know, max money.
Yeah.
There's no room to do anything.
No.
You know, you could look at a star on a rookie deal like we do football.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you have a chance to kind of maybe make a few moves or take on some contracts that if you're making, you know, if they're the right players, you can gain a competitive advantage there before you have to pay your absolute star.
Yeah. Now, once again, I'll ask but I want a more direct answer from you. Okay. So you're thinking San Antonio can make a push. We know Dallas is going to be a good team. So who's coming out of this thing is the thing.
Well, run the
so
teams again.
Okay, all right. So I'll start from 4. Denver's at 4, Lakers at 5, Clippers at 6, Minnesota at 7, Sacramento at 8.
I'm concerned. I think Sacramento's going to drop.
Okay.
I could see Minnesota dropping, although I think they've played a little bit better of late. Mm-hmm. And I could see the Clippers being more of a D. I don't think the Clippers fall all the way to 11, but I could see them ending up in like the 9 or 10 spot if these other teams' moves work.
Yeah. The thing with the Clippers is James Harden is a regular season like savant.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get them in a play-in situation that's close to the playoffs, so you have a chance. You know what I mean? So, like you said, yeah, if they drop to the play-in, they can automatically drop out.
They still have a situation where, you know, how many games is Kawhi going to play the rest of the way? I mean, you know, there's some things. I mean, Norman Powell's been really good, and yeah, they've again, I hate to admit it because I don't like him, but I mean, Ty Lue's done a pretty good job. I mean, particularly given that team
with the situation
has continued to transition under his watch, but the level of play hasn't cratered. You know, that's you got to give a guy credit for that. You know, a couple years ago, you're based around, you know, injured Kawhi and Paul George, and you go through a Wessel Westbrook phase, and now you've got James Harden. It's like, and now you're kind of, you know, he's your main guy who's healthy all the time, and you just keep finding ways for that team to compete and win night in and night out. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think Sacramento is a team that you look at, you know, and then I mean, really, that's one team, and then like I said. That's one team that we know for sure is probably going to come out. The rest is really questionable. But then you got Golden State, Dallas, and San Antonio. I know Phoenix is in there, but they haven't really made a significant move yet. So like I said again, Golden State, Dallas, San Antonio. Who's going to look to get in there now? This is something that is surprising.
Well, what is the blanket of games amongst those teams? What, San Antonio's 12? You're saying?
Yes.
And so what is them to get to, like, what is this, how many games back from there, from 6 or
from
7?
From 6, San Antonio is 17 to 18 to 12 basically. So, you know, what is 6? Right?
18 to 12.
Yeah. 18 18,
6 games. Okay.
6 games.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? So 6
yeah,
games back.
So 6 games back.
Yeah.
And then
that's kind of
from
significant.
7,
5
5 games back. Yeah, I mean that's a bit of a reach, you know.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. But just from 8, now you're at the 3.5, right?
Yeah.
So that's you want it. That's you targeting the play in. You said
Yeah,
it. You said it right the first time.
Yeah. You got to
get in the play in,
yeah,
and then see what happens for San Antonio.
Yeah.
Now there's another team down here that's now they're a half game back from San Antonio. It's Portland, and you may laugh, but Portland is 9-1 in their last 10. I watched the Portland game. I've only watched 2 this whole year.
The last night when they won.
Last night when they won.
Okay.
DeAndre Ayton has been like a revelation. Like he's been like really balling in these past 15 games.
Yeah.
I mean he's putting up like these 20 and 10s that are crazy. So I'll be interested to see. That's another team. They're young. I don't think they're gonna be in the mix. But hell,
yeah.
Well,
the only thing like that we got to be concerned about is they're on a 9-1 tear. They're gonna regress to the mean to a degree, and what you're looking at when we're looking at those other teams we've been talking about is like, who in that group is gonna rip off a 8-2, 9-1 tear?
There you go. Yeah,
and it's kind of like that thing where Portland's already done that.
Yeah.
Do they have another 9-1, 8-2 tear in them?
Yeah.
Where one of these other teams, maybe that's the thing that's gonna you go on a tear like that, you move up 3, 4, 5 games on the people in front of you, and things look a little different.
Yeah. And almost certain that one or two of these teams will do that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely look at that. And and Simons has been. I mean, his playmaking. I've been taking a look at that. His playmaking has been really good. Just shout out to the hometown kid there. Simons has been playing really well.
Pedro's posse veteran.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get to some quick fun stuff before we get to the NFL, okay? And then we'll monitor any other NBA trade moves that happens during the show, okay? Keeping it, I guess, semi-basketball. Just a quick thing here. Marcus Jordan is trending in the news. I actually Googled this. It was like the number 3 trending story in the U.S. today.
Well, you got a good funny video.
He got the video. He's saying, hey, I'm Michael Jordan's son. I'm Marcus Jordan.
Did you have any idea he was in the area, or does he spend a lot of time in the area?
He's in Maitland. No, I mean I know he went to UCF and all of that.
Right,
so apparently he must still stay here. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the most surprising thing. I saw the initial article, and then I'm looking like in Maitland, and I'm like, oh damn, he's still around here.
And you can tell he's not from here because everybody knows Maitland is like literally the last place you want to be doing anything.
Is this the son that was with Pippen's wife?
Now that I don't know, I doubt it. I think it's the other one.
Because they only had 2, right?
Yeah. I think it was the other one.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure.
That's funny though.
I'm not sure. Now, what I was gonna say? Oh, do you think he still plays basketball? Because you see Marcus in like a pro-am. Should Juan reach out?
I don't think so.
Because when he was playing, I mean, he was bad, but not. He was bad as far as like making it to the NBA.
Yeah,
but he wasn't like whatever.
Nah, you would think. I just my guess, not entirely based on the cocaine, but
guys play ball and snort.
He's one of those guys that probably just kind of stepped away from it,
like all together. Probably.
Yeah,
like not even like
maybe like with a small group of like close friends might. Play a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a guy that's like pulling up to runs or anything. Because again, at the end of the day, as a basketball player, he was in a damn near impossible situation.
Yeah.
And it didn't go particularly well. So I kind of feel like, why would, it'd probably be weird for him to kind of still be kind of showing up and pushing that.
Yeah.
I think for his own sanity, whenever that, UCF thing and no real pro opportunities manifested, I feel like that, for his own mental health, he probably just had to pivot and focus on other stuff.
You know what else is weird? I get it, man. You got Michael Jordan fans and you got LeBron fans and, whatever. But what's really weird is for example, I was on there. We talked about Bronny James last week. We had the clip up from last week, literally a week and a half ago or something. A guy commented this morning under the Bronny James clip and was like, He's a hell of a lot better than Michael Jordan's son. He's not on crack cocaine. LeBron's a better father. And I'm like, come on, man. What is that? I mean, like, who gives a shit? Like, it's not. That has nothing to do with LeBron versus Jordan debate. Like, that has nothing to do with it. That's my point of bringing that up.
No, I agree with you, but I just feel like that's the result of when we go through this stuff and everything that LeBron does, Jordan is brought up.
Yeah.
That's how we create this situation. Like, we can't just enjoy LeBron James for LeBron James. It's like almost, every bit of his accomplishments are, well, he doesn't have the 6th title, or, what, like,
or the reverse.
Like whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Like, we've created a dialogue that's widespread in basketball that you can't separate these two guys. And so then you're going to, the dumber elements of society are going to extend that to
the kids.
The kid thing.
Yeah.
Because, again, what is it? It's like you sit here and you compare these two great guys, and you're just trying to find these little things to pick apart to gain a small advantage. And where that's kids, like, that's being a father. And again, let's not pretend that, like, part of the LeBron narrative is that, like, he's this kind of, like, more charitable guy. He's not this cutthroat competitor who's, gambling every fucking day on the golf course. Like, that's part of it. He did the I Promise Academy and sends guys to college. That's part of the argument. It's already been, part of the dialogue.
Baked into the dialogue.
So, it's not surprising at all, but this is kind of what we do to ourselves when we insist on doing, in discussing it this way.
Yeah. Well, they do it to themselves. And we just...
those idiots, yeah.
But
it is, like, there's just so many, like, the line is, hey, Michael Jordan's my dad. Like, but, like, again, like, a couple things are super funny about this. Like, so the cop, like, I don't know if we should credit him or discredit him for not saying, well, he's probably awfully disappointed in you. Like, fucking drunk and high, trying to drive on a train track in fucking Maitland. I mean, like, come on. We've fallen a long way. And then the other part is like, let's talk about the body cam. So that's why we have this video.
Yeah.
And so, the body cam's given us a lot of horrible things. People getting killed and abused by the police.
Yeah.
But this time it gave us some comedy. And the thing about it, like, again, let's, how much sense does he have when he's drunk and high and all this stuff? But, like, you're not going to get anywhere saying that when the body cam's rolling.
No.
Like, if you had a moment to, like, hey, do you know how, like, whatever, a subtler thing at the exchange.
You saying, like, they're trying to get out of it.
Clearly that's what he's saying it for.
Yeah.
To somehow get some favor out of this situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe earlier before the body cam goes on, you kind of like, hey, do you know I am? Great. It's not a great night. Can you just get me home? Like, I don't know. Like, what?
Yeah,
But, the body cam thing was classic, though. I don't know. But yeah, like, forget all the basketball stuff. Like, just don't do cocaine and do stupid shit.
Well, that's not going to change.
It makes life a lot easier. But I don't, like, this is the thing. I don't have any sympathy for people that do drugs.
Yeah.
I just don't. It just is like, hey, you put yourself in this spot. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Any sympathy because, like, knowing what he went through, like, as far as the noise and everything, he chose drugs, I guess, to cope. Because I bet you, like, because you're at UCF, a huge party school. It's a huge, colossal school. You're trying to play ball. And then, but all of the negative noise, that's when it was at the height. Yeah. And then I guess to cope with it, that's probably when he started doing drugs. And UCF is like, a lot of the white kids do it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what a lot of people do to deal with stress. I mean, and to deal with problems they have in life. But like the
Then you know how much cocaine you can buy for you and your friends if you're a Jordan son? He left the jail in a Lamborghini. Yeah. So I'm sure, like, Jordan is like, hey, you have whatever you want. I mean, if he's giving his son a fucking Lamborghini, like,
that's true. But, like, I mean, the bigger life accomplishment is to find other ways to deal with your issues.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I have a lot more respect for people that that do that than do what he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you could buy a lot of cocaine, maybe become a dealer. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of options when you have that type of capital behind you.
Got a capital. Let's get to a couple other quick ones here. I thought this was funny. I don't want to stay here long at all. But rapper Asian doll, I didn't know she was a rapper. I'll say that. Says a man has to have 3 bodies to talk to her, meaning that he has to have killed 3 people for her to entertain him. And I when I saw this post on IG, and one of the first comments I read was he was like, I saw a female rapper and I stopped reading the rest.
I would agree with him. That commentator, like, you know, what insightful thing has ever followed female rapper said?
That's just silly. It's
idiotic.
Yeah,
It's just, you know, I hope you're happy you're viral, but like the entire world knows you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how do you verify the 3 bodies? Like, just trust a guy that
So
you
now
killed
you
3
just
people?
Yeah, now you want a lying fake thug around you? Is that? I mean, I can't think of a lot of things worse than that.
Sometimes you get what you deserve. Maybe you'll be body 4, bitch.
Yeah. 3 bodies is a guy who has killed 3 people. That's a serial killer. Like I mean, come on, 3 people?
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, if it happened the same day and it's like he happened to whatever, but 3 people, like that's crazy.
And then what constitutes a body?
Yeah.
Like, do you got to like shoot, strangle, stab a
There
guy?
you go.
What
Yeah.
if you just hit a guy with a car?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Like an accidental kill?
You know,
Like, come on, what are we doing here?
you accidentally kill a family of 3.
Yeah.
Do I qualify?
Yeah.
You know?
Can I get some Gucci?
You know.
So, hopefully her career dies quietly, quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I share the same sentiments. I thought this is another interesting one. So, a Paulding County man was sentenced to 475 years in prison Thursday for 93 counts of dog fighting and 10 counts of cruelty to animals. This has been trending and going around a lot, of course. That's like a crazy amount of years, 475 years. And I want you to talk, but I found these. It was a comment made by the police that I thought was very, very interesting. But go ahead. I'm going to say, but go ahead and share your thoughts on that.
This is really dumb. I mean, I don't like 475 years. So basically, you're ensuring this guy dies in prison.
Yeah.
Why not just give him the death penalty?
Yeah.
And why are we so worked up about dog fighting? Why does this matter so much to us?
Yeah.
And the 34 felonies of the cocksucker at the White House don't mean a thing. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
What are we valuing that this guy gets this absurd sentence for dog fighting? And I'm not endorsing dog fighting, but there's a whole lot of more heinous shit going on right now than dog fighting.
Yeah.
You know, and again, like 475 years. Like, what is the point of that? The oldest person alive is what, maybe 120?
Yeah.
Like, you know, basically 25% of your sentence. It's just stupid. But, I mean, I would assume it's like the product of some sort of weird sentencing guidelines in that state or jurisdiction where it's like, you know, minimum sentence for each count is, you know, 10 years, and then you add up all the counts and you come up with this absurd number. But yeah, let's focus on shit that matters.
Yeah. And the judge sentenced him to a maximum amount allowed by your law. And I was looking for I can't find it.
But
I mean, yeah, but that's nuts, man.
But like I mean, in the last month or so, I feel like we've talked about at least 2 or 3 adults who have done horrific things to children.
Yes.
It's like they deserve this type of sentence. Like, way more than screwing around with the dogs.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And I don't think they get that sentence. I think they get something a lot less.
And that's I wonder why is it like that? I don't know.
I mean, I think it has to be like some sort of sentencing guidelines that you have to follow when there's a conviction on, you know, this count or that count, and then you simply do the math, and they don't have some sort of kind of reset that says, you know, the maximum in any circumstance is 100 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so I found it. All right. So let me see here. So the sheriff, this is a comment from the sheriff's office here. Conditions where dogs were being housed, both inside and on the exterior of this property, were not fit for humans, much less dogs. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think you got that wrong.
Like,
I think.
what is that? What is that?
I think the standard should be higher for the humans than the dogs. I mean, not even to be like a bad dog
That's
person.
crazy.
Like, I mean, a lot of dogs like perfectly okay, like spending time outside in a doghouse and maybe roaming around a fenced backyard and maybe in and out of the house a little bit, but like they're not like taken care of like humans have to be.
But that comment shows where that's where their heads are at when making these.
It's like revealing of what
know,
their
it's revealing.
what their mindset is.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
I wouldn't even put my young sister here, let alone my dogs.
But at the same time, yeah, it's a crazy sentence. It shouldn't be like that. They should do rapists and child molesters and all of this. They should give those guys these kind of numbers.
Yeah.
But with this and any other laws you're breaking, anything that you're into illegally, you know the stakes.
Yeah.
All right, and if you don't know the stakes, that's shame on you.
Yeah, you're incredibly naive.
You know what I mean? So you kind of got to take what comes to you, whatever. Like, until they change the laws, you should understand the business that you're in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
the risk
The guys know that who's selling weed. They know, like, yeah, we know it's just fucking weed. But you know in your state what they're giving if you're selling weed. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
You take what comes with it.
Yeah.
Okay? And all of the girls who want free weed too, you got to whatever. You take what comes with it and being in that business.
That's right.
All right. And I actually grew up around dog fighting. My entire family on my dad's side were into dog fighting. And so I grew up not knowing it was a bad thing.
Anything was wrong with it.
I just that's where I got my I didn't like dogs because of that. As I had to go out and like put water out and put the dog food out. That was my job.
Okay.
And these were like vicious animals. So I'm thinking, like, in my mind, it's like, damn, every dog. I don't want to be around any dogs.
Right.
Because all of these dogs were fucking, aggressive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, that's crazy.
I got bit twice as a kid. That's why I didn't like dogs.
Yeah. Well, at least you were bit.
You never got
I
bit
was never
any
bit.
of any of that? Like being around those type of dogs?
No.
Wow.
I mean, but getting bit by fighting pit bull is
Serious business. Yeah.
you're probably gonna be losing a limb.
Yeah.
Cause these are and they're big, hefty, strong, like motherfuckers. Like, All right, the next quick one here. I had like one or two more. Hold on, let's see. Did my cousin didn't respond? Isn't this Clarissa Shields?
Yeah, but it didn't look like her in
It
the
really
face.
don't look like her in the face.
Yeah, I was confused when I saw this.
And I asked my cousin, and it's funny because he's usually watching the show like every single week, and he hasn't commented.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the picture is the reason why I got it up here because it's funny because everybody's looking at her ass, even the little boy. You can see him.
He's right there at ass level.
But if you look at it, like everybody has their head down.
Yeah.
And so and I put it up on social media like, damn, I now I have to see. But of course she just won a big match, and I've never watched women's boxing, never got really into it. I know when Layla was fighting, like,
I think I saw like one of her fights. I've seen some of the women's MMA fighting.
Okay.
It's a huge turnoff for me. It just really is. Like there's something in me I don't like when the women get like beat up.
No.
Like, and again, like if you put it into context like MMA, these girls come out, they come into the octagon, they're super fit, some of them are attractive, and then the fight begins. And, like, there's a pretty good chance, like, one of these girls is going to be, if not both, like, bloodied up and deformed by the end of the fight.
So I know my answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. So, like, you wouldn't watch, they were having a conversation, like a Clarissa versus Paul.
The dude?
Yeah.
No. No. I mean, don't think for a minute I wouldn't be thrilled if she knocked him dead. But I wouldn't watch it. Because again, like, okay, you're gonna fight Mike Tyson and have rules about that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think you're gonna do with Clarissa Shields?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. And I would assume, maybe this gives the Paul brothers too much credit, but like, there was an interview with Serena Williams, and you know, back when she was in the peak of her powers, and like, she candidly said, it's like, hey, if I play a top 5 man in the world, I'm getting blasted. I can't beat that guy.
Yeah.
You know, I could beat a ton of dudes that think they can play tennis, but I can't do that. And I would assume that fighting would be the same. Is that Clarissa Shields fighting, you know, an on par skilled male, and maybe that's not the Paul brothers. She's not winning that. I mean, just men have some physical advantage. I mean, there's a reason the men's 100-meter time is 9.59 and the women's record is like 10.49.
Yeah.
It's just different. You know? And then when you're in that close combat sports, you know, and the skill level is comparable, that's going to dictate things.
Yeah.
So I would not want to see it, and the fact that if they do it, you know something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
There's something in
stinks.
play that we're doing this, but we're only going to, you know, do it like that.
Some definitely stinks.
But credit to her for looking that good.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Let's go here. I don't know if you saw this. So, a comedian, TK Kirkland, and he does a lot of podcasts and stuff now, says that raising another man's child is mental illness. You know, compares it to trans people as well.
To trans people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being that he thinks like, you know, being a trans person is mental illness as well. That's what TK Kirkland says. I don't know. Like, again, this is just a quick thing here. I just thought it was interesting to note, but it's, you know.
Now, it is interesting to note, and there's a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, like a lot. I mean, you immediately question, okay, well, what if I'm raising another man's child? What is that other man doing?
Yeah.
Is he like gone? Has he passed away? Is he in the picture but not necessarily reliable? Is he in the picture and doing his part, but I'm the one who lives in the house with your kid and your ex? Like, there's like so many things about it that you got to have some clarification, because I don't think you can just make there's too many nuances to that thing to just put a blanket statement like that.
Yeah, especially if there is a special case. But the reason why, like what you were saying, like the guy's in prison dead or whatever. But my thing is, the reason why I think it's wrong and he's crazy for saying that is because no matter what, if you get with a single mother, you're going to be raising that child, no matter what. Even if the child's father is super involved in that child's life, if you are with the mother and you guys are living together,
you become a part of that dynamic.
You can't avoid it.
Right.
Even no matter what. So the only way to avoid it is not be with the mother. So you're essentially saying single men shouldn't date single mothers.
Yeah, you're basically saying
is
single mothers
nuts.
are undateable.
Yeah, single mothers are undateable.
Yeah,
They are off the market, undateable in your eyes.
Yeah.
They should only be with the person that they made a child with. And that's just crazy.
Yeah. And again, just what about the needs of the child?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you could come into a situation and realize that this kid needs something help, that you could help this person. Like,
Yeah.
you know, how is that different than, you know, just helping anybody that you're capable of?
Right.
You know, I know it's funny when you first posted that, I was thinking of the Equalizer movie with Denzel. And I don't know if you saw that.
The first, I mean, yeah, of course.
The first one.
The first one.
And remember, he went to like his mentor's house, that woman, and you know, she's kind of like, well, hey, how the hell did you get in this situation? And he's just like, you know, I've done a lot of bad things, and I just saw a situation where something was wrong, and I knew I could do something about it.
Yeah.
So I did. And sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah.
Like, you get exposed to a child who needs something that you can provide, and, why not?
Yeah.
If you're going to make somebody else's life better. Yeah, I mean, we look at, like, general charitable acts of just, helping a person or, whatever. Why can't that person just be a kid?
Facts.
And why can't the help be somewhat consistent?
No, for sure. This is actually from Dennis Schroeder. I'm not sure if you saw this. Have you seen any recent Dennis Schroeder quotes?
I want to say yes, but I can't recall the quote.
Okay, so you probably have. Here it goes. He says that NBA free agency is modern-day slavery. It's like modern-day slavery. Everybody can decide where you're going, even if you have a contract. Yeah, we make a lot of money, and we can feed our families. But at the end of the day, if you say you're not coming to work tomorrow, you're going over there. They can decide that. They got to change that. Dennis Schroeder compared the NBA's trade deadline to modern slavery. That's nuts.
It's dramatically over the top. But there is something to it. Josh Smith said something about this in the past. Like when again you're under a contract with an organization, the Dallas Mavericks, and it's like literally they can just send you to one of 31 other locations, and you don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, but that's a part of it. Like that's not only is that a part of the business, but that's a part of the contracts. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not like a whatever.
Well, you're not going into it blind. Like you when you get drafted into the league or you sign into the league, people get traded. Like you're aware that this happens. So you can't act like when they trade you like, oh damn, this shit's never happened before. What's going on?
Yeah.
You can't do that because you know that it happens, and so that's why the statement of it is over the top and kind of stupid to invoke slavery. But I do, on a basic kind of human level, we talked about it with Bradley Beal. Like maybe he's just like, dude, I don't want to get fucked around with in the middle of this season.
Yeah, and I'm sure the team probably told him,
that I don't have to. So I'm going to stand on that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Oh, you talking about from Bradley Beal point of view?
Right, but I'm just saying he's one of two guys in the league that
yeah,
can say
but
no,
if you're Dennis, then work with your agents and be the type of player that can get a no trade clause. I mean, that's why that thing is in there. I'm sure Bradley Beal doesn't, feel like this is modern day slavery. I mean, he's in the same league as you, been on some of the same teams, like and I'm sure Dennis was frustrated because they probably told him like, hey, yeah, we're probably sending you to Utah in a couple of days. You might want to,
Yeah.
And then he probably got pissed off. Who wants to be in Utah? I understand that.
But also, I mean, in context, becomes his third team this season.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I get where the frustration comes from.
Yeah.
And so forth. And again, I mean, the Luka trade kind of flies in the face of it, but like lower tier players like Schroeder get moved around a lot over their career.
Yeah.
I mean, who was the guy you brought up in that one trade? The trade today, I forget which part, but like we didn't even know.
Kyle Anderson or Josh Richardson.
Josh Richardson, yeah. I mean, he's a guy who's probably been on a couple teams, 10 teams in the league. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's, that's the life of like what you characterize as like a lower tier fringe player in the league. I was
watching Gil's Arena today. And of course Kenyon Martin is on there. KJ Martin was on the 76ers this whole season and he was moved. He was moved to Detroit.
Yeah.
And of course this whole season, whenever something big happened with the 76ers, I'll watch just to see what Kenyon Martin says.
Yeah.
And, he's been, supportive of the team, talks about the team and being behind the scenes. He gives different comments and stuff on Embiid. And today he was like, yeah, fuck the 76ers. Fuck them. I hope they don't make the playoffs. I hope they do get the 11th seed and miss out on their pick. And the thing is, not only is it a part of the business, but the 76ers gave KJ Martin a $20 million deal this year. Like, hello, that was from day one, from minute one, second one of that deal, that was a huge indicator that he was going to be moved before the deadline to create cap space for the 76ers. In what world does KJ Martin deserve $20 million? In what fucking universe? So that means that, not only, did we move him to a young team where he can get more minutes, but we compensated him for the move. Why is it Buck Philly? And KJ Martin received more money in 1 year than he's going to receive in his entire career.
Because like mentally, like again, when you're on a team, you know, you're supposed to be all in. You're supposed to full engagement. Whatever, you know, I'm doing everything I can to help the Sixers win. And a lot of times with these guys, the other thing they want you to be a community guy. And then it's like, hey, I'm doing, you know, he probably felt from the second he arrived in town, nice contract, played well, did whatever the organization asked, and you're kind of, it's hard not to expect some degree of sort of reciprocity of that. If you're the good soldier, you should be rewarded. It's kind of how we feel.
But that is the reward is the money. I know you're saying about not being moved, and the funny thing about it is everything you're saying was right. He's a good soldier. He did play well. Like KJ did play well. He did show that he improved a lot. He was shooting well. He played. But you know what? You know what happened? You know what happened to KJ and what happens to a lot of these guys? KJ got hurt, and when KJ got hurt, we had to play two younger guys, Ricky Council, and the undrafted rookie that I was telling you about from Kentucky. God, I don't know how I forgot his name just that fast. Those two guys came in and just played better.
Right. Sports. Okay, what are we saying? Like, sports is an incredibly harsh business.
Yeah.
And it's super competitive, which makes it harsh. And, like, he's going to say, fuck the 76ers, because that's his emotion in the minute.
Yeah.
Like, you know, 3 years from now, he's, you know, if he got sent back to Philly, he'd go to war for them or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Justin
like again,
Edwards,
you're entitled to have an emotional reaction.
Oh no, yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
And that's all that is.
And it's pops,
like,
so I understand.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I understand. I hope that he understands.
I'm sure that he does.
Especially being a player himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I wanted to talk about this because, of course, there's been it's a hard transition, right? I could have had a better transition than that.
Hey, it's all good, man.
But recent plane crashes have induced anxiety for many travelers, including myself. You know, and so you know,
who at one point dealt with considerable anxiety about flying.
It's right, and so you know, it's been quite a few plane crashes across the world here, and like kind of like in a row, and it's like wow, not spread out at all, and you have a lot of flight attendants, a lot of people who fly a lot. Just it's increasing anxiety, but those in that industry have tried to reassure people that flying is still one of the safest they say is the safest way to get around, to travel, and just speaking about me, because I have trips lined up and planned and trying to get places, and it's like damn, because a plane crash. What's interesting is because you watch these movies and things like that, and people survive, and you hear, but man, like there's almost like a certain fatality to a plane crash.
Oh yeah, they go badly.
You know what I mean?
It's rare when people survive.
And there's nothing you can do. It's tough, man.
No, I mean for many years. So like, I didn't fly a lot when I was super young. As a family, we flew down once to Florida when I was a kid. But then my next kind of time period when I was flying was in college. And you kind of have like a very kind of carefree, world's in front of you attitude, and it didn't bother me at all. The second I became a father, flying freaked me the fuck out. It was bad. Like I'm not the type of person who's gonna take medication or like throw back a few drinks just to get on a plane. But I would be sitting on that plane just going, all right, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And be nervous. Because again, when you get on a passenger jet, like you sit in a chair, you might hear a few words from the pilot, and you don't really know what the fuck's going on.
Like seriously, man.
You're just sitting there. And for me, I had a big transition personally with that anxiety when I got to fly private for the first time. And I kind of sat near the pilot, and he was explaining and showing me the instruments and the information they use to fly. He was describing how, like, if you're traveling certain direction, you're at, like, even altitude and the opposite directions. All these kind of safeguards that are in place to make flying effective and efficient and safe. And it connected with me, and I really went a long period of time with no concerns at all. But then, again, like, how many flights go in and out of just Orlando International every day? Yeah. And they're not crashing. And we get this just sense of like, oh, no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. And statistically, it is no big deal.
Yeah.
But on the rare occasion, and it is absolutely a rare occasion, that you have an air disaster, again, not many people survive. It's horrific. It is like horrific. And you look at it and you're just like, well, there's nothing these people can do.
Yeah.
It's out of your hands. I mean, ostensibly, maybe it's in the pilot's hands to a degree, but I'm sure there's things that can happen on a plane that really the pilot can't control, and you get a bad outcome. But when you're just sitting in the back of a passenger plane, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, you're just at the whim of whatever happens. And that's not comforting. I mean, in some psychological level, we like to have some feeling of control in our lives, even when we don't. And when you're in the back of an airplane, that's kind of magnified. Like, I have nothing. I have cheap pretzels and a Pepsi, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
No, seriously. No, that sucks, man.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to, be resilient.
And still get on the horse, huh?
Yeah. Get right back on the horse that flung you. But it didn't flung you. It flung some other people.
Yeah.
So.
And it sucks because I had got, like, rid of the jitters.
Yeah.
And everything. I was confident getting there and getting on the. Now it's going to reset and I'm going to be fucking nervous is all I do is
Yeah.
getting on one.
But to control that, to manage that and get on the flight, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's, that goes to your mental strength.
Yeah, man.
So it's a chance to prove your mental strength. That's what you got to look at it as.
Maybe.
Reframe it.
Or I can just hit up Marcus, man, and get some cocaine before I get on there, man.
Might have to lay low for a few days.
He's right up the road, man.
Yeah.
Just pull up, simple transaction. Let's talk about the Super Bowl here, man.
About time.
Hey,
Tom Brady's not playing.
I know, but I want to talk about the Mahomes Brady thing because we talked about last week. We talked about from the Eagles' point of view, and also Jalen Hurts and all of that good stuff, and can Jalen Hurts be recognized as one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks if he wins? Why not? And we talked about that angle, and today I just wanted to talk about Mahomes. Because, after last year's Super Bowl, we kind of had a debate about Mahomes versus Brady and things like that. And I'd be doggone it. We're right back here. Right back here at it again, man. And that is one of the biggest storylines is Mahomes' greatness. And at what point will he, be legitimately in the argument? When will you feel comfortable saying, like, hey, This is something now.
It's funny because when the Bucs played the Chiefs and Tom Brady won that game, I talked not only on this show, I actually went on another radio show, and I was talking about that Tom winning that game, and this is before the game. I was saying if Tom were to win, it really, like, to me, almost like puts the nail in the coffin of ever catching him. Because no matter what he does, it'll always be 40-plus-year-old Tom Brady on a new team beat you when you're 24 or whatever. And I thought, at that moment, I believe what I was saying. But in hindsight, I don't, I think it is essentially a debate. I think that what Mahomes is doing is insane. And it is true greatness. And I don't have an issue with somebody saying that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I know Tom played forever, and you kind of get into that thing. It's almost like the reverse LeBron argument, but it's even more perverse because he played longer like LeBron did, but he has more titles at the moment like like Jordan did.
Right.
So and that's why when Brady got that title, it literally felt like he was going to be untouchable.
Yeah.
But it's not that way. Like if you believe your eyes and you watch these games and you watch what this guy does in clutch situations, you can't feel any other way than to say there's nobody who's definitively better than this guy who's ever done this.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. That's just always been my take on it. Is Mahomes is the has since day one, he's been the perfect blend of, damn, when I'm watching him, he looks like the best, and then also have the accolades to back it up.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about Brady is just, you know, for whatever the large chunk of the beginning of his career, that wasn't the case. And I understand, 6th-round pick, you got to ramp it up, and he has to learn, and this, and that, and then he was carried by defenses and all of that. But it just kind of is what it is, right? And yeah, he still won, but, you know, like I said, he has 7 Super Bowls, but he doesn't have 7, you know, Super Bowl MVPs, you know, and you know, and people are saying that impacts whether they think Jalen Hurts is going to be recognized. You know, if the Philadelphia Eagles win, but Saquon Barkley is the Super Bowl MVP, they're not going to. They're saying, and a lot of people in the media, and I believe you said it last week as well, that's not going to elevate, Jalen Hurts for them.
Yeah.
So that matters. That means something, you know. And Mahomes has been the best player, has won Super Bowl MVP. Now that can't change down the road, but not only that part, right? That's just being the best player and having the accolades. But then, you know, if he does win, and all of this is if, then you have the three-peat. But that's just this year. If he three-peats, which is fucking colossal, because nobody has done it. But how far can they push this out?
Right.
You know,
how long?
You went 4 in a row, 5. That's shit. You know, so it's like, okay, this year is very important because in order for it to be universally recognized, it's one thing. You know, I'm a Chiefs fan, so like, who gives a damn what I think who's the best quarterback? I'm going to say Mahomes. So you disregard my point, but to be universally recognized, the three-peat is very important. Okay. As far as being universally recognized as better than Tom Brady, it's colossal. All right. Then after that, what else can you do in your career to be the first to ever do it? Like I said, if you can win 4 in a row, now you're fucking doing something out of this world.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you'll probably be universally recognized at that point for sure. Okay. What kind of records? Because what I believe is if they win this game, I think they revert back and go pure offense. I really do. I think they're going to if they win this game, I think they make a push for Cooper Kupp or trade for Tyreek again. I honestly think one of those two things happens if they win this game. Yeah. And then I think they go reverse back to offense heavy and allow Mahomes to just throw it all over the yard, things like that.
Well, I was going to say, Tom Brady's career is interesting to look at. So, like, early in his career, I think he won, like, 3 out of 4 titles over a 4-year window. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, like, he wasn't statistically dominant, and it seemed to be the benefit of, like, balanced Patriots teams and great Bill Belichick coaching. When they added Randy Moss and they had that team, I know they ultimately lost the Super Bowl, but he put up, I believe, like a 50-touchdown season. Mm-hmm. And he was throwing deep balls all over the place. And the narrative up until that season, it always felt like he was a little bit more of like a winning game manager guy than that guy. And when he had those seasons with Moss, it just felt like, shit, he's that guy.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed it. But team-wise, they did have a bit of a dry spell for titles. And then they kind of got back to it later in the years. Even when they lost to Philly in the Super Bowl, like, Tom threw it around. Like, I think he had maybe 400 yards.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're still looking at, like, this fucking guy. Along the way, though, there were disappointing playoff losses. There were some poor performances. but by the end of this, he had accumulated like the Moss years statistical single season stuff and the spectacular offense. He'd accumulated the 7 titles, and by playing as long as he did, he got to top of all of the other shit like career touchdowns, career yards, all those other titles. Now Mahomes has given us this, like literally every time I'm a starter, the worst case scenario is we make the conference final, and I'm winning several Super Bowls. I can get this 3-peat, and then it's gonna just kind of. I mean, again, you could probably make the argument he's the best guy, or nobody's. To me, I'm more comfortable saying nobody's ever been better than this guy.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe at some point, if the stats and the titles get comparable to Tom, then it's just like, well, there's nothing anybody can say.
Yeah.
You're just done. You don't have an argument anymore.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Tom Brady put us by the end of his career.
No, seriously.
There just really was nothing to hang your hat on in favor of another guy.
Yeah.
And Mahomes has that potential. But again, like what we see just like week to week, the way this guy just conjures up victories is just extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I had one stat that I thought was interesting as far as a career comparison. I saw this. Now, they both have, seasons without a top 8 scoring defense. So, the top 8 defense in the league ranking. Okay, Tom Brady is 68-28 regular season. Okay,
without a strong defense.
Without a strong defense,
okay.
Essentially, Mahomes is 40-8.
Okay,
that's a 70% versus 83% for Mahomes.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, without a strong defense, Tom Brady is 6-5 record, 1 Super Bowl appearance, never won the Super Bowl without a strong defense. Mahomes is 6-2 with 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl win. Because what a lot of people, remember is that, outside of the Randy Moss year, which they did end up losing, Tom Brady didn't have a lot of, elite pass catchers outside of Rob Gronkowski and I guess Hernandez for what it was worth. And then as far as elite, of course, he had Wes Welker, even though I think he's going to go to the Hall of Fame and guys like that.
Edelman.
But the top, whatever. They're saying that he didn't have a lot of talent. But the talent was defensively. I mean, just a fuck ton of Hall of Famers that were on those defenses over the course of years. And then, of course, you have probably the best defensive coach of all time. Like that, that matters. And then, not only that, like I said, some of those guys won the Super Bowl MVPs. Like, they were that dominant. Like, how many defensive guys do you know are winning Super Bowl MVP? I know Wes Welker got the one. And then you had Deion Branch. You had the white linebacker. I just find it funny that I'm saying white linebacker because
Vrabel?
Or
no? Teddy Bruschi?
It was either Vrabel or Bruschi. Okay. And I'm not necessarily saying Super Bowl MVP. I'm just naming important guys from that defense and things of that nature. Now, that's just an interesting stat that I thought was interesting, but the three-peat in my opinion is vital to him having a strong universal case to be the GOAT, to be the GOAT quarterback. Do you agree with that at least?
Oh yeah, no, the three-peat is an amazing accomplishment. I mean, again, literally, we're Super Bowl 59 or 60, and nobody's ever done it. Yeah, that speaks volumes. Just volumes. I mean, I don't. It's tough to quantify, like just what he does. I mean, it's just like his impact on a game it's just omnipotent. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch these games, as long as they keep it close, you just feel like he's going to find a way, and he does, and the stats back it up. That and there's so many because you did this probably last year. You went through a kind of a laundry list of these crazy stats, like I think like no losing record against any divisional opponent, or whatever in his entire career. Just so many little things that are just insane.
Yeah.
When you compare him to other people, and there's just there's nothing like it. I mean, you need to enjoy watching this. And again, don't make this Jordan and LeBron. Don't make this where we're arguing about the success of Pat Mahomes' kids versus Tom Brady's kids 10 years from now. It's just like, enjoy what it is. Tom's career is over. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. If you hated him, whatever. If you liked him, it was great. But we are in the Pat Mahomes moment. And just all the stuff too. Like when he's winning like this, like all the really good players that aren't getting to a Super Bowl aren't winning a Super Bowl because he's there.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
It is really crazy. That's probably the craziest part to me, because like, when does it end? Because like you said, the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, New England Patriots, they went 9 seasons over the span of 10 years without winning the Super Bowl. And I mean, like, at this point, I can't see that happening with Kansas City. But in any event, we know they're not going to win it every single year. I mean, that's just that's just that's out of the realm of a possibility, in my opinion. So, but still at this point, I don't know when they slow down, and I can't imagine them slowing down for like multiple years.
And the main reason you're saying that, and it's not insane to say, is because of him.
No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's the thing. That's how good this guy is.
For sure.
And
because we've seen them with a high-powered offense, and we've seen him win a Super Bowl with receivers leading the league in drops. Like normally that's an excuse for a team that doesn't make the playoffs, and you're trying to say, big up the quarterback and trying to solidify confidence in him. Solidify confidence in him. Hey, he's good. His receivers, they led the league in drops. What do you want him to do? Yeah. And meanwhile, Mahomes' receivers lead the league in drops, and he's winning the Super Bowl. Like, that's nuts. How do you even pull that off? You know what I mean?
But that also just goes to like the mental side of the game.
Yeah.
And it's just like his belief. And I remember it was this off season, somebody was saying that they were interviewing, or they were in the room while people were asking Pat questions in the middle of last year when dudes were dropping everything, and they kept setting him up to throw shit on the receivers, and he never took the bait once. And the guy who was telling the story is like, yeah, I felt like they're probably going to win again, because you can't break this man. He's not going to turn and talk shit about other people. And I'll circle back to what the stuff we were talking about, Luka, and that's the part he needs to figure out.
Yeah,
he hasn't, and it's okay, you're never going to be a great defensive player, but can you be an above-average defensive player in a final when it matters? Mm-hmm. You're never not gonna bitch at the refs, but can you cut it back enough that it's not a distraction? Mm-hmm. And I can attest to this. The last season I coached in a high school setting, I made a conscious decision, because at the prior job, I got in trouble yelling at refs and overreacting to things. And I made a decision, I'm not going to do that at all. I'm going to sit here and I'll actually kind of be cordial with the refs. If I question something, I'll do it in like an inquisitive, not a confrontational manner. And the reason I did that was because it gave, when I overreact and go to them, it gives my team an excuse to not perform. And I realized in that year, we never had that problem. We lost some games where we just got beat basketball-wise, and that's fine. But we didn't lose games where we just got, by the end of the game, everyone's just, ref screwed us. No, it never happened.
Yeah.
Because I didn't let it happen. I made a decision that I'm not going to go down that route, and we're just going to compete to the final whistle, and we're not going to do that. And it matters. And I think that, Mahomes is a guy that he's beyond that. I mean, he just is locked in on what he needs to do to win games. And I think that's when we talk about unlocking a level for Luka, which I think he can do, and you don't think so. To me, that's the level. Mm-hmm. It's not hitting more shots. It's unlocking that part where you're just so focused on winning. And we have a thing, and this I want to shout out some Mahomes with this. We have a thing with these guys, and I remember I mean, Tom Brady was, he had slammed down the clipboards and iPads and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was competitive Tom. Well, I mean, in a way, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And what I would suggest, if you probably looked closer at Tom, he might have been one of those guys that could go smash a clipboard or an iPad, but then when he takes the field 2 minutes later, he's locked into what he has to do. And I think that's when I'm watching Mahomes, that's it. He's just so locked in to whatever the possession, whatever the game situation's required. He doesn't let himself get distracted by anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw in the Philly Super Bowl when he had the bad ankle. He heard it right before the half. He's hobbling around, but he's still engaged, still, locked in. He's not thinking. Even the story he tells when he dislocated his kneecap, he thought he could go back in and play. And the reason why, and you can feel it when he's telling the story, is he never stopped thinking that was a possibility. Even in pain, he's just his mind was I have to get back to the game. You guys figure this out, and I'm going to go back there. As he's telling the story on the Kelsey podcast, that's what you see comes through.
Yeah.
How mentally wired do you have to be that? That's extraordinary. That's the biggest part of his greatness over the physical talents by a lot.
No, for sure. Another one is, early in the season, week 2 or 3, something like that. It was early. I'm not sure exactly what week, but he threw a bad interception, and he in effort to tackle the guy, he injured Rashee Rice. That was Mahomes.
That's right. He tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think for anybody, you yourself, make a mistake, and then in effort to clean it up, you injure your number one receiver
at that moment. Yeah.
And to remain locked in not only for that game, to win that game, but for the remainder of the season. That's kind of nuts.
No, that's another one.
Yeah.
And you go back to the Bulls thing.
What
Bulls
Chicago?
the one. But the thing that came out during COVID.
What's that?
The series, the documentary.
Last Dance.
Last Dance.
Yeah.
During one of those things, I don't know who was narrating the segment, but they said that Michael Jordan's greatest ability is his ability to live completely in the moment. The second he misses a shot, it's out of his mind and he's on to the next thing. And I think Pat Mahomes, that's a lot of what he has. Like you said, a normal sort of sympathetic, empathetic human being might have been kind of super, kind of bummed about having hurt a teammate, and it might have spilled over into that game. It could even spill in a little further, and that guy might not have lost the focus for a play.
Yeah.
Because of the way he's wired.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the superpower that the top athletes and competitors have.
No, for sure.
More so than the physical.
No, for sure. All right, well, that'll do it for this week here, and we'll catch you guys next week. Well, hold on, let me see here. They're saying that the Pelicans getting close to a BI trade, either Hawks or Bulls. It'd be kind of interesting if the Hawks can get Brandon Ingram, I guess. I know you're not a Brandon Ingram guy.
No, I'm not at all.
And then the Knicks are trading Jericho Sims to the Milwaukee Bucks. He's kind of like a athletic big.
Super athletic guy.
Yeah.
Really jumps well.
Yeah.
But hasn't really put it together as a player.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much left Brooke Lopez got in him.
Yeah. They need to find a way to trade for Dante DiVincenzo and get him back home.
He's kind of been lost over there, right? He's not really making an impact. I'm not sure.
He's not a huge impact guy. He's just he's just kind of like a versatile role guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he is. And it's just playing with his brothers was just a better situation for him.
Yeah. No, for sure. What's interesting is he's averaging 11 for this year. Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
He has these big games, and then like just really bad. Like his last game was 28.
Yeah.
And then he'll 5,
Yeah.
6, 4. You know what I mean? With bad shooting and and things like that. So it's weird. So they're going to have to hope they get into a playoff and just hope you get 2 or 3 big games from the
I mean, you hope. I mean, that's the thing. But I mean, they're just I'm not optimistic. I mean, they could slide into the even out of I mean, I think they'll make the play-in probably.
By the way, Ant-Man with a 50-point game tonight.
There you go. That's the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way forward. Is he's got to stop being a bitch and be an every night monster.
Yeah. I just knew the move was so terrible. And the reason why I knew the move was so terrible is because Naz Reid is a better version of Julius Randle than Julius Randle, like a much better version. He's bigger. He shoots better. He rebounds. And there's no need to have both of them. They're the same person. One is just a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also like Reid just kind of he lets his opportunities kind of come to him.
Yeah.
And Julius Randle kind of hunts.
He wants to initiate and be
that's
aggressive.
The difference.
Yeah, that is a difference. That is a difference. But yeah, good stuff on that tonight for them.
Yeah.
No other. The Spurs won in Fox's first game.
Oh, he played. Okay.
So they So they beat the Hawks by 1 point actually, 126-125.
Good.
Beating the Hawks. Fox had 24 and 13 assists.
There you go.
Fitting right in, and 3 steals, and Wemby had 24 and 12.
That's nice complimentary basketball.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's promising, if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's promising. What do you think about Trae Young thinking that he's being, what is the term he used? He said is being being left out of the All-Star game.
I think like statistically, he belongs there.
Yeah.
But he's still one of those guys where you just feel like other people are better. Like, even though he puts up great numbers and his team is like kind of okay, they're not terrible, you almost feel like he's getting bad team good numbers. That's how it feels.
You know what's interesting? Because, of course, we all know the starters are voted in by it's like a 3-way thing of fans and media, and I think coaches have a small percentage too. But the reserves are all coaches and whatever in the front office. Did you know that only one player from East and West, or however you look at it, from the entire thing, was the coaches voted in from a non-playoff team? Only one player.
Oh, really?
Can you guess who that player is? And it's kind of obvious if you really think about it.
Wemby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wemby is the only
Yeah.
player from a non-playoff team that the coaches voted in.
Yeah.
Because the Hawks right now are in the 9th seed in the East.
Okay.
And so that's something I think they wanted. They wanted the players from winning teams on the All-Star as far as reserves. And that's kind of what happened.
They respect them more.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. I think you respect them more. And again, Wemby, they were bad last year. They've made a move this year.
Wemby is an all-star. I mean, it's not like
Wemby's a special talent.
Yeah, that's not a.
You can't deny that.
Yeah, that's not a math test of any kind.
Yeah.
He has to be in. But I mean, like you said, I think you got to hit it right on the head. He has all-star stats. I guess that's how he's looking at it.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting up 23 and 11 a night. Which is literally his stat line, but it's like, I don't know. Are you really better than whatever, a Halliburton?
I think that's that thing. I mean, like when you're looking at
Brunson,
it and you ask yourself, like, okay, I got to win a game tomorrow. Who am I taking?
Yeah.
He's just not like
no.
His stats are not his stats are above the level of the valuation that people have.
Even Tyrese is having a better year than him. Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
And Tyrese Maxey didn't make the All-Star. And he's having a better year than Trae. Maxey
he's
really
doing more than
out.
23 and 11?
He's at 28 and 6.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
Have you value that? Yeah,
Yeah.
28 and 6. That's and he's what, second in the league in steals or something crazy. He's like I don't quote me on that, but he's up there in steals, like much higher than Trae is.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
But he didn't make it. I mean, because they're not a playoff team.
Yeah. No, it's hard to to not reward winning.
Yeah,
it's kind of the point of sport. I mean, and when you're a coach, I think, I mean, you're conditioned to look at the game that way. You know, you're like, how do I win? Who's going to help me win? I mean, that's the thing. Like if you're looking at it, there's no other way to look at it than, like, can this guy help me win?
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of guys. I mean, they're talented, but you're looking at it, it's like, oh, that's not really going to help me win, or I'm not going to want him to play in this game like he does for the Hawks.
Yeah.
So what does that do for me?
Yeah.
Like nothing. I mean, if I'm just going to if he's the best I got and I'm the Hawks, I just give him the ball and we play, okay, that's my best chance. But if I have better options, I don't need a guy to play like that.
Then it's also interesting that it's not like you put 30. Well, it's the head coach and assistant coach, so it's not like you put 60 guys in one room and they come up with an answer. Like they just submit their votes at one. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And then and you're not in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's like all of the coaches together.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe even your coach didn't vote for you. Who knows? Like he doesn't have to consult with you who he voting in.
That's true.
So it's like, that's interesting as well. It's like, hey, well,
that'd be tough to swallow if you're him. My own coach didn't put me in.
They should reveal like who they voted for. I think
that might change the votes though.
Oh yeah,
that might change some votes because I don't think. I mean,
Yeah.
Here's the deal: you're the coach of the Hawks. You want to keep your job.
Yeah.
He's your best player. Like you're gonna have to vote for him.
Yeah.
If
it's
people are
like
gonna know.
everybody knows. Yeah.
You know, there's just no way you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like you have.
Yeah.
There is like
it would become more political if you.
Yeah. There's like an integrity or sanctity of a group.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't always make the cutthroat decision when you have a group to consider.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of like realize, okay, this is the group until whenever. Now, once you get to whenever, you can kind of reset some stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, the team ain't making any moves, this is what I've got. I've got to figure out a way to win with these people. So you got to kind of serve their interest, keep them engaged, kind of strike the right notes, build confidence in them so that you can get the best out of them.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Catch you guys next week.